Yo, Chicago. What the hell is going on with Chicago, guys? What's going on? I mean, it's not making no sense at all what's going on with Chicago. I mean, y'all, it's just, man, 1,400 educators. Let me say it again for the folk in the back row. 1,400 educators, that means teachers, have been laid off. There's $734 million missing, just gone. And then they have a $1 billion deficit. This is the city of Chicago. What the hell is going on? And to be honest with you, there is only one party ruling that city. Just one. For a long period of time. It's time to ask some questions of what's going on down there in Chi-Town. Guys, let's dive in this real quickly, man. I can invite my partner on, Anton Daniels. Shout out to my man, Anton Daniels, guys. I love that dude's podcast, the Millionaire Morning Show. Watch it all the time, guys. And his clips, man. Yo, let's dive in this, man. Anton has been really diving into this for a long period of time. And so I had to bring him into this from his content standpoint to dive into it because he really goes into deep of what's really going on. Let's dive into it. Here we go.
So new for us here at 4, nearly 1,500 teachers out at Chicago Public Schools. The layoffs come on the heels of a doomsday budget with a $700 million gap to be filled. But CPS says today's cuts are not related to this year's deficit. CBS News Chicago investigator Dorothy Tucker here now taking a close look at these cuts, Dorothy.
Well, Joe, as you said, hundreds of teachers, special education assistants, and even parents who help out in the classroom are impacted by these latest cuts. Let me break it down. The layoffs include 432 teachers, members of the Chicago Teachers Union. 123 of them teach special education students. CPS said the number of teachers cut this year is about 50 less than last year. But special education classroom assistants appear to be impacted more this year. In that job position, there were 677 layoffs announced today. They are represented by SEIU Local 73. That union saw only 404 cuts last year. In an interview yesterday, the interim CEO for the Board of Education did indicate the cuts were coming.
We have everything on the table, and what's driving the decision that we will ultimately come to? Students first.
CPS insists the cuts are not connected to the deficit. School leaders say it's all part of the annual budget that shifts staff according to school needs.
Now, I want y'all to be very, very mindful of what we're seeing here, okay? I don't want you to be confused.
Sad.
I don't want you to misunderstand exactly what's being communicated. I want you to understand and see it for your own eyes. We're going to switch over to Mayor Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, and we're going to see what he has to say about this.
Mayor Johnson is doubling down on calls for the state of Illinois to fund Chicago public schools. The teachers union says it wants Governor Pritzker to allocate more than $1 billion to CPS. And today, the mayor is supporting that move.
The city of Chicago and districts across the state are not fully funded by the state of Illinois. Again, it's one of those areas where I'm going to need more people to get active, to challenge not just city government, but the state government as well, to fully fund our schools, because the crisis that we are experiencing is a crisis of the result of failures of the past.
So what the mayor is basically trying to convince you guys, this Democrat mayor who has spent an egregious amount of money on illegal migrants, is trying to convince you that it is not his responsibility. He's passing the blame. He's passing the buck to previous administrations. Never had anything to do with how he's handling the finances and the resources of the city itself. Hey, listen, we just gonna go to our daddy, the state, and beg for more money. And so while you guys over in Chicago.
So stop right there, guys. So there's no self-reflection on anything that Mayor Johnson has done in his tenure. There's no self-reflection. So real quickly, I'm going to see real quickly why I have you guys here. How long has Mayor Johnson been in office? I want to see this. How long? Because what he's saying is that he doesn't want It's not his fault at all, period. So we're going to see how long has Mayor Johnson, let's say, I'm just going to go to Chat GP. No, I'm going to say Chicago Mayor Johnson term. Gotcha. Let's see. All right. It says Chicago Mayor. This is on Google. I'm using Google. Okay. It says Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's term began. Wow. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's term began on May 15th, 2023. It's 2 years ago. And he's saying, you just heard him say, this is not his fault. It's past mayor's fault. Not his fault, though. But he's been in office for 2 years. And early on this year, there was a debate on his budget. He was trying to raise taxes on the citizens of Chicago. But it ain't his fault, though. Nope, not at all, period. Nope, at all. Nah, this is the previous administration's fault before him, for him, and nothing to do with him at all, even though he's been in office for 2 years. Trash. Horse manure. This guy's a coward. Coward. Let's keep it going. We ain't done. Let's keep it going. We ain't done yet. Let's keep it going.
And again, I want you to come to me and tell me how continuing to vote blue makes sense for you guys. You are going to be laying off 1,400 plus more teachers, special education teachers, regular teachers. You guys are experiencing an additional $700 million more in budget and funding cuts to the schools separately from the $1+ billion deficit that they're experiencing in the city itself.
So let's get this straight. Okay. You're cutting $734 million out of your school budgets, right? You're laying off 1,400 to 1,500 educators, teachers, and you are $1 billion in a deficit. Does it sound like someone has their fiscal house in order? Now, I can understand, guys, forgive me, I can understand, guys, if there were some issues, right? Something happened, a pandemic, something like that, or something out of your control. But player, you've been in office for 2 years. And there's only been one party ruling Chicago for decades. One party. Can you guess which one? Can you guess which one? I can. I really can. I can guess. Let's keep it going, guys. Here we go.
Because I have to say these numbers so that you really fully grasp what is happening in your state, what is happening in your city, what is happening in your county, and what is happening in your community.
Wow.
So while they sit here and continue to gaslight you and tell you that crime is down, even though we've seen over 44 people get shot and 6+ people die over 4th of July weekend, while they sit there and tell you that it's okay and that they support the illegal migrant crisis and that they won't work with the federal government, while they continue to tell you that your communities are not under siege, this mayor, these aldermen, and this governor, J.B. Pritzker, including Brandon Johnson, is gaslighting you guys and trying to convince you that it is okay. They are raising taxes. They are adding additional taxes, bag taxes. They keep telling you that they're going to tax the rich as though they don't have the option to be able to divest themselves from Chicago altogether and move to a completely different state.
Correct.
And then keep a residence over in Chicago. That is not how it works. You can't overtax yourselves.
Correct.
You have to manage the budget more effectively. And the fact that they spent hundreds, if not billions of dollars on illegal migrants during the Biden administration, and they continue to go to you and tell you, you know what? Because our schools are not fully funded by the city alone, we are going to go to Daddy, J.B. Pritzker, who continues to be against the federal administration, who, by the way, in June had a $27 billion budget surplus because they took in more money from tariffs and other activities and cost cuts. They are trying to tell you that your children will be better off with less teacher, bigger class sizes, also immigrants inside of those classes, while at the same time having a budget deficit of over $1.14 billion annually. That means that next year it's going to be the same. Next year it'll probably balloon. Next year after that is probably going to be a budget deficit. And then they're asking you to take a haircut for your children to suffer, while at the same time they telling you that crime is going to be down and they continue to pour resources into your community. Okay. So here's their solution, because I don't want to just look at this one-sided. I want to make sure that we're looking at this holistically, okay? Here's their solution. They're going to the community.
So hold on. So now let me set it up. So the elected leaders don't have a plan to fix this problem, while at the exact same time, earlier on this year, their plan was to hike up taxes on the Chicago citizens. So with this new problem that was coming, which anybody could see with if you were not blind, right? This new problem comes up. Now what they're going to do is they're going to go to the citizens and ask them what they should be doing. So now get this. Aldermans are making anywhere from $115,000 to $175,000 a year. Now, aldermans are equal to city councilmen. Okay, so like in Dallas, I'm in Dallas. We have a city council, right? Every city has a city council and a mayor, right? So the city council right now, aldermans, right, in Chicago make anywhere from $115,000 and above in a salary. And the Chicago mayor, I believe, makes around like $200,000 plus. So the elected leaders don't know what to do without saying raise taxes. So let's hear what they're going to say now, because they're going to the citizens now. Here we go.
Community. How do you guys think that we can brainstorm in order to come up with a solution to fill this gap so that our children could still get the same level of education and compete in their future, while at the same time we don't have the money to do so, even though you pay taxes, you pay property taxes, but you're not getting the same level of service that you're supposed to be getting for the value of your dollar that you contributed into the federal government?
$734 million. That's the funding gap Chicago Public Schools leaders face in their next budget.
Tonight, they started to brainstorm solutions with parents, teachers, students, and others. Our Sarah Maki was there listening in. And Sarah, we're talking about a huge number here.
Right, a huge number. And here's another one, because this came just days after the district announced that they were laying off more than 1,400 workers, at the time saying it was because of delays in the budgeting process. Everyone agreeing that there will be tough decisions ahead.
Delays in the budgeting
process. Starting on a strong.
Listen to this. So now they got kids playing, the drum line playing, get you hyped up, get you going, get the emotions going, baby, as we talk about how much we suck and need your help. Again, outside of you paying taxes, property taxes, and investing for these kids, we done spent all the money out. We're gonna play some music for you to keep you hyped up. That's gonna solve it. Got it. Okay, here we go.
Note, Chicago Public School leaders made their pitch.
This is the place where we need you.
Asking parents, students, and CPS staff.
My school's a small magnet school.
For their ideas to fix the looming $734 million budget shortfall.
The money is there.
Where?
So we need to tap into it.
Where's the money at?
Where's
the money?
Where, Miss Afro?
Where's the money at? Where?
I know where it is. It's over with an illegal migrant that migrated and sent themselves and deported themselves back over to Guatemala.
There we go. That's what.
A listening session where they didn't hold back the feedback.
I had to learn how to navigate my voice and speak up when something that I need.
Some participants surprised by what they heard.
I knew that we were in a financial deficit. I just had no idea how big that number actually was. So that was kind of alarming to hear.
District leaders say pension obligations, building maintenance, and services for students with disabilities are among the factors driving the deficit, giving some general money-making ideas for participants, like exploring TIFs, cuts to staff or programs, renegotiating contracts or furloughs and loans.
But the
ideas
loans. Okay, let's continue. I just want to make sure that we're stopping this so that you can better understand. They're asking the community. They're not leading by being able to be smart business leaders, managing a budget effectively, and then creating opportunities for you to leverage technology or something like that, while at the same time reducing the cost for parents and driving more sustainability for how they continue to fund the schools. They're already laying off over 1,400 people, while at the same time, hey, they pitching regular everyday folk on how they supposed to fund the government, how they supposed to fund the schools.
So again, this is the. I'm gonna let him continue. Then I'm gonna give him my thoughts.
Separately from the $1.1 billion, $1.4 billion that they are in a deficit for the city itself. This is schools also.
Came from all angles.
Like, why are they just sitting there? Like, why don't CPS think about doing something with those buildings?
I like that sweater.
That's money.
Nothing is mentioned about these marijuana shops popping up.
A growing chorus of suggestions, district leaders tasked now with turning them into one harmonious budget.
I feel like that the first thing that needs to happen is that we all need to get on the same page.
This is so dumb. This is so dumb, honestly.
So let come back to me for a second, guys. So let me get this straight. I just want to make sure we're on the same page, y'all, real quickly. So the solution that the elected officials making six figures and running a multi-billion-dollar company called the City of Chicago don't have any answers. So what do? They go to who? The citizens. The very ones paying their salaries and funding all of these operations right now for solutions. Because elected leaders don't know what the hell they're doing. Now get this. Their solution right now incorporated people, the drum line, and again, look at. I want you guys to see what they were prescribing real quick, because here we go. I want you guys to see this. I'm gonna bring it back up so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right. Look at these. Look at it. Exploring TIFs. I don't know what TIFs is. So I'm open for some counsel what TIFs are. Cuts to staff of programs. Renegotiating contracts. I'm trying to figure out why hadn't that been going on so far. I don't understand why that right there has not been going on already. Renegotiating contracts. I'm confused by that. Help me understand that. Right? That should have been going on years ago. All right. Furloughs and loans. So now we're dealing with loans for the schools. Loans. Okay? Loans. Guys, you understand that government only makes money off of taxes. There's nothing that the government creates or produces. Nothing. The revenue stream is taxes. That's it. Just taxes. This is the remnants of and I mean this respectfully, of I'm sorry, not multi, forgive me. This is the remnants of non-business owners running the government to the ground. Do you want to see the difference between let's for instance, a Trump type of mentality, or a Elon Musk, or a Jeff Bezos, or a Michael Dale, or a Tim Cook, or a Mark Cuban, right? Or a Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. They can read an income statement and balance sheet, and they know about money and business. They know about it. You're seeing the effects of non-business people running a multi-billion-dollar organization or business called the City of Chicago. Their solution is we need more money. We need more money from the governor, the state of Illinois. Okay. How does the state of Illinois get their money? Because they produce no goods or services. Taxes. What did the government? What did the states get their money from? Because they produce no goods or services. The federal government. How does the federal government make money? Because they don't produce no goods or services. Taxes. Do you see how this goes? Do you see how this goes? This is the reason why Anton said in his diatribe right there how Trump had the Trump administration has a $27 billion surplus. Here is what business owners do, CEOs do. A good CEO or business guy, whenever I'm looking at funding the company or buying a company or taking over a company or appointing a CEO to run a company, the first thing the CEO normally does is, where are we bleeding cash at? We figure out ways for us to, what can we renegotiate? What can we cut down? What can we do better? To what? Tighten the belt, because we're bleeding cash somewhere. Does that make sense? We're bleeding cash. The government's thing is, don't worry about it. We're just going to print more money. We're just going to devaluate your dollar and going to tax you more. So that's their whole solution. That's it. Because they have no goods or services that the government's producing, no matter what level of the government. City, county, state, or federal. Nothing. Didn't matter. So you turn to the citizens for ideas? Guys, real talk, every alderman needs to resign. The mayor of Chicago needs to resign. Mayor Pro Tem, resign. City manager, resign. Everybody needs to go. There needs to be a complete turnover. A complete turnover. Now, City of Chicago, if you keep voting the buffoons into office, this is what you get. Fiscal irresponsibility. I'm not saying that something happened out of their control. No, that happens sometimes. It does. The pandemic, it happens sometimes. But they saw this coming for years and did nothing. But you keep voting for the riffraff. So the riffraff is giving you more riffraff, more trash, more dumbassness. Congratulations. And I guarantee you, none of them are going to step down. Why? Because those aldermen and the mayor, they need a check. Notice how none of them have resigned. None of them have been fired. None of them. The ones making decisions about all the bills, all the money for the city, none of them have stepped down. But they fired teachers, though. The superintendent for the Chicago Public Schools, why hadn't that person stepped down? Nope, at all. They need their check. Do you see? Horse manure, trash. Chicago, if you keep voting for these people, I don't want to hear no bitch in the morning, nothing like that at all. This is what you voted for. Take it. My word. I don't understand what's going on, guys. Jeez.
Walk me through everything, but let's start from the beginning. How'd you get into this space?
Well, when I was 17 years old, my Uncle Gary, who still lives to this day, introduced me to a concept called passive income.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, Uncle, what's that?"
Yeah.
He said, "Something that you do one time, but you get paid over and over again." I'm like, "Why am I trying to go to college? I want to know how to do that." Gotcha. And so while I was in college, I began to look at business models that generated passive or residual income. One of them was real estate, because everybody and their mama actually had it, from Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, all the billionaires actually had real estate in their portfolio. So I began buying real estate while I was in college. The first deal that I did, I made $3,500. And in college, that's big time. In college, you broke.
For sure.
College.
For sure.
Then I went from $3,500 to $10,000 to $26,000, and now $35 million worth of real estate. For me, business is always about solving someone's problem. Whenever you're buying a real estate transaction, the one thing I look at is, what's the pain point? Why you want to sell for? And typically, I like buying properties below wholesale. I never buy properties at retail. That didn't make sense to me at all, because I'm planning for the worst case scenario. Each and every deal that I actually acquire, I actually take home cash when I actually acquire it. Wow. Every single time.
If you wanted to know how successful real estate investors make money with their acquired real estate and not when they sell it, click on the link below or swipe up and download our free ebook, Distressed Property Investing. The blueprint is in the ebook. Stay blessed, holla at your partner, and download the ebook today.
Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Big God, big grace.